been really missing. So as Paul mentioned, my name's Adrian MacAlister, and just to give you a bit of a background around who I am and sort of my background and experience in security. I've been working now, this is my 25th year working in IT, so a quarter of a century. So the grey hairs do represent the years of stress and experience in IT. 17 of those years have been predominantly focused in information security. And I work currently as part of TikTok's CSPO team, which is our Chief Security and Privacy Office team, and based here in Dublin. So my background is I spent sort of 10 years working for Caterpillar, and I was a founding member of their CSIRT team. I then spent a few years working for AECOM and was helping build and mature their incident response capabilities. I then spent around about 4.5 years at Salesforce, which moved me from Dublin, I'm sure as the accent gives away, not local, originally from Belfast. So moved down to Dublin for the Salesforce role and worked there for 4.5 years, helping with them with all of their critical incidents and cybersecurity issues. I've been with TikTok now for the last 9 months, and one of the things that really excited me about coming to work for the platform was the company mission statement, which is to inspire creativity and bring joy. And being part of a team that helps protect the platform, which helps achieve that goal, was something I was really, really interested in. So the agenda anyway for today, I'm going to go through some of the threat actors that we face against, how we prioritize security, defense in depth. I'm talking about our Dublin Fusion Centre, something I'm incredibly excited to talk about and share. Some of the challenges with COVID and how we've had to grow like exponentially, remotely, building teams and relationships all remotely without ever meeting anybody in person, which is extremely challenging when you're trying to build relationships. And then our path through to trust and transparency. So as I mentioned, TikTok's platform to inspire creativity, bring joy, but anywhere on the internet that has something that's used for good, there's always going to be people out there looking to find ways to do bad stuff on that platform. So you can see that some of the things that we're up against are state-sponsored actors. You're going to have misinformation, disinformation, and the motivation is to try and sort of gain some sort of narrative or sow discord with a subject matter. Organised crime. You can have financial gain, people looking to make money from the platform and exploit sensitive information from our TikTok users. And then terrorism. And then hackers, people looking to get information that's about users, what we're doing, looking to spread malicious content through the platform as well, and causing damage to people as well. So in order to help try and protect against all of those different threat factors, some of the things that we're doing here is prioritizing security based on a lot of our core principles. So it's obviously installing a security culture to enable our people as the first line of defense, which is the same regardless of where you work, is our people, our users, our employees are always our first line of defense. So we're building those strong foundations, having our security team comprised of industry experts, people with very long tenured backgrounds and diverse experience in the private and public sector have come along to try and help protect the platform and all of our users, and expanding our capabilities and reach globally. Like all of you, I'm sure, have seen the exponential growth of TikTok and the platform. And with that, we need to grow as well as a team. So we're expanding our footprint in Washington, Mountain View, Singapore, and Dublin, Ireland. So which has me here today. Dublin is one of our regional centres of excellence for cyber. We are here obviously at a booth. We're actively hiring, and if you want to come chat with me at the booth afterwards, you can see some of the exciting roles that we have that cover around how we protect our users and the platform. And we're building a state-of-the-art monitor and response and investigative fusion centre, and I will touch more on what the fusion centres are later on in the slides. It's something I'm incredibly excited and passionate about to be involved in. I think it's pretty cool as well, some of the different threat vectors that we see in issues cross-functional with different areas. And then enabling partnerships with world-leading cybersecurity firms. I will touch in some of the later slides on some of the other organizations that we're working with to help improve the security of the platform. And you can see, obviously, we adhere to a lot of security standards like NIST, CSF, ISO 27001, SOC 2, and all the usual industry standard controls that you'd expect. So with anything doing security well, you need to have defense in depth, and we use that through multiple layers of different methodologies. And the first being on-platform defense. So as I mentioned, we've got exponential growth. There was a stat released last month where we had like 1 billion monthly active users, which is just crazy scale of numbers and volumes that we're seeing on the platform of monthly active users. So that's not a problem you can really have people throw at. So you have to have machine learning, automated monitoring tools to track anomalous and inauthentic behavior and take that content off the platform if it gets to the platform, or stop it reaching to the platform before it ever gets uploaded to a TikTok video. And then by design, building security integration into all of our tools and our development life cycles and everything that we produce. If you've been in any offices where you've seen all of the posters that you get where it says like quality and security is like a swimming pool, you can't add the water in afterwards. So the same with security, you can't add that in afterwards. It needs to be integrated into the beginning of all the development, creation of all of the designs and products. Then with platform controls, we use a methodology of over-the-horizon threat defense, so looking forward and trying to determine what threats are going to be affecting us and making sure we're building in all of the appropriate global platform monitoring tools and processes to deal with that. And then the data controls to define and implement and measure controls to protect data, including IAM, IDM. Obviously, that's a few examples. There's quite a large list of different controls that we use, but that's a few ones. And then obviously user data to harden the center of defense in-depth model focuses on protecting our user data. We want the platform to be a safe place where people feel they can be their own authentic self, produce content, produce videos, and have fun on the platform. And we feel that people can do that best if they actually feel safe with the content that they're putting onto the platform. And a question I get asked a lot is, where is your data stored? How is data going around the world and stuff like that? So one of the things at TikTok, we do a lean localization strategy on where we store data. So currently we have data centers in the United States, data centers in Singapore, and we've also made the commitment on creating a data center in Dublin, Ireland. So again, incredibly exciting to see the focus and investment in Ireland as well as the wider Europe. So as I mentioned, in Dublin, we're building a fusion center, and the concept of a fusion center, a lot of folks when I've said, I'm working in the fusion center, I'm the fusion center lead, they're like, no, Adrian, what is this fusion center thing that you're talking about? So the way that I try and sort of explain the fusion center, it's an all hazards incident management collaboration. So typically in organizations, and I am going to be annoying and ask people to give me a show of hands, but like, how many times have you been involved in a security incident where it's been 2 or 3 weeks later and you only find out about the incident because like somebody has just thought, well, maybe we should tell the security guys that this thing has happened, which is real. The Fusion Center, the whole idea and philosophy of that is to bring all of the sort of usual dispersed silo teams together in one room. And if you've watched likes of the CSI Miami, and you see like the government rooms with the big video screens and the multi-departmental sort of capabilities, that gives us that sort of same capability for our environment. So you can see like all the different names of the different teams that we're going to have co-located in all of these Fusion Center rooms. So I could be working on an incident, or I could be just in the Fusion Center. Somebody could mention that there's a fire at a data center somewhere, or there's an earthquake in Japan, or there's a active shooter situation somewhere. And I'm going to be able to quickly know how that spans across all the different teams, groups, and how to respond to all of those types of incidents to best protect our employees, our platform, and our users. So it's something that I'm incredibly excited to be involved in and work in, and get to see the sort of large, wide span of different incident types that occur. So you've got, legal, privacy, data defense, actual physical security, cyber security, cyber threat intelligence. All of those teams are really actively, collaboratively working together now on a real common ground. So it really makes the agility and ability to respond to incidents much more quickly and effective. So with the Fusion Center, our goal is to have that next generation cyber threat monitoring. So we have that, as I mentioned, holistic, all hazards incident management perspective of all of our incidents. We use private and public cyber investigations and digital crimes groups, and advancements on our platform, threat discovery, to protect our community, which really, as I mentioned, it really leads to more efficient operations. So our time to identify, time to contain, time to eradicate, time to recover is all greatly reduced because of our greater efficiencies of all working together in a much more collaborative way. And so, as I mentioned, our data centers, and you can see the alignment with the data centers and our regional centers of excellence. So with the Fusion centers that we're building in Dublin, we also have those in DC and also in Singapore. And that allows us to operate at a 24/7 follow the sun support model. So we can run incidents and issues throughout the day, from Singapore to Dublin, back to DC, back to Singapore, back to Dublin, back to DC. So we've got that fluid operations of all of our incident management work through 24/7 period. We're branding internally all of the Fusion centers as Fuse. So that's what we call ourselves internally as the Fuse team. And from early 2021, we've been building and making that capability, into the real world Fusion centers where we have folks located and working to run incidents. And obviously, unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, you might have heard of this thing called COVID that's been kicking around that caused a problem or two with meeting in person. So any type of cross-team, cross-functional thing, it's a lot of hearts and minds of winning over people, relationship building, and doing all of that type of thing remotely. It's incredibly challenging. Trying to build those relationships and those close partnerships with folks all on the other side of a screen is much more challenging. So that's one of the things that we've been extremely successful in doing, that and building all of those relationships amongst all of the different teams. So the XFN experience there, if you don't know what the abbreviation is, it's Cross-Functional Network. So we've built all of those relationships, as you've seen on one of the previous slides, with all of our different partner teams, legal, finance, physical security, CTI, cyber threat. We've been working tremendously closely together and building all of those relationships. And one of the other advantages is then we're all operating on a common operation model. So if something is a high severity incident in one team, that cross-correlates to what high severity is in another team. Though it's the same language of incidents is used, the same understanding of what's critical, what's high, what's medium, what's low. And it allows us to have that sort of rapid approach to be able to respond to things, and that commonality of being able to do things consistently across the board. As part of the Fusion Center, we've been doing a lot of great work on forensics, doing dashboards, analytics, metrics, so we can also see what we're doing, see the metrics, drive improvement, and understand how we can do things better. And as I mentioned, the hybrid approach, we're working with multi-function teams, R&D, legal, privacy operations, trust and security internally. But as well, from a hybrid approach, we don't just work hybridly and cross-functionally internally. We also look out to the industry, our users, and folks within the industry. So the screenshot you see here is a little snippet from the TikTok app, where you can actually report a security vulnerability from the app. So it gives our user base, from the touch of their hands, the ability to make us aware of a security vulnerability. We also work with a lot of leading external parties to help verify and review code, applications, make sure everything is secure validate all of our controls, all of our technologies, to make sure it's best in class for the industry. We're also incredibly proud to partner with HackerOne for our bug bounty program. So we can utilize external security researchers who can perform research on the platform, identify vulnerabilities before the bad guys do, allows us to address and remediate those. So we do a lot of cross-functional internally and externally. One of the other things we heavily utilize is our threat intelligence and use it as a force multiplier, as I mentioned earlier. Trying to do things in a manual, human-centric process is extremely difficult and doesn't scale to the volume of data that we're working with. So we have a lot of anomalous activity detection where we can see things happening. We have advanced threat libraries that feed into our systems, converged intelligence, countermeasures, and then security automation that reacts to all of those intel feeds that come in that allows us to leverage and make better business decisions to help protect the community. So we have a foundation of security, and we're committed to earning the trust of our community. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a platform to inspire creativity and bring joy. And we genuinely believe that people will do that in a place where they feel safe. So how do we make people feel safe? Making sure that we have a quality product, that we have collaborating with security, law enforcement, privacy experts to protect our global community, and making sure that the platform is safe, and empowering users with choice. So as a user of a platform, you can choose if you want to be private, if you want to be public, how your data can be viewed and seen by others. So making sure folks know how that can be done correctly so they can have that choice of how they want their data to be seen on platform. Providing access to code and systems to validate security controls by third parties. So we have a lot of strong controls around access, validation, review with transparency centers where we allow people to come and actually view our code and things like that to validate that it does what it says it does. And as I mentioned, consistency with the wide range of cross-functional support teams and fusion centers. We're working across a wide base of different teams, doing things consistently, same incident response language, so we can keep the consistency of how we respond to incidents, but also keeping our users informed of updates and how we enhance security. So, as I mentioned, we offer a wide range of privacy and security settings that users can activate during the account setup or any time afterwards. So if you create a TikTok account, you want to be public, you want to share all of the information that you have, and then you later change your mind, you can go in and change that. We've ran cybersecurity months where we've tried to do security awareness to our user base to make them aware of how to use the platform securely, as well as other ways they can enhance their own security outside of the platform. So we've done that through in-app safety and security videos. We offer resources and tools for parents as well to better oversee their child's online experience. So as a parent, you can have feel a bit of assurance of knowing what your child is actually doing on platform. And we obviously frequently update our security and privacy hub with tips and resources on how to use the platform securely. And as I mentioned, inspire creativity, bring joy is the mission statement of the company, and keeping everybody safe. So that's the intent, is we hope we can help inspire creativity and bring joy to all of our users and the content that they create. So just to finish, TikTok is focused on protecting our users. That should hopefully become clear from everything that I've said. And scaling our global teams to try and match the scale of growth within the platform as well. So we have a global team of security experts to help deliver best-in-class capabilities. And the importance of our work is that the job is never done. It's constant iterative improvement of being better tomorrow than what we are today, better today than what we were yesterday. So that is the completion of my talk. I'm happy to take questions from anybody for the next 3 minutes.
Any questions, guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Adrian. Great talk. Content moderation. There are a lot of social media companies doing this, and a lot of social media companies struggling with what is a a challenge to solve technically. And a lot of social media companies seem to throw eyes on glass at this problem. More content moderators. How does TikTok approach this problem? Is it something you need to scale to, or is there a technical solution that TikTok bring to bear on content moderation?
Yeah. So some of the things I mentioned in the chat there was that sort of lean into machine learning and using technology to do what technology does best, which is repeatable, continual process at crazy scale that people can't do. And then embedding that with our cyber threat intelligence, our intel feeds, and all of this sort of attribution of what we see. If it's like a mis and disinformation type of campaign, collecting all of the indicators that are similar to that, and then detect it before it gets to the platform even, and shut it off. If it does get onto the platform, get it taken down quickly through all of those detection mechanisms.
I just have a quick question on, say, digital forensics and the processing of imagery and video on your platform, how you're tackling that at the moment, in terms of its increase of the content,
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't get to hear the start of it.
So with digital forensics, with the video and the imagery on the platform at the moment and the obfuscation of images and such, are you looking at specific ways to tackle this problem right now?
Yeah, there's many different ways, like both automated and obviously manual review of seeing how different threat actors try and obfuscate our detection methodologies. Obviously, I can't go into some of the elaborate details of what threat actors are doing to try and circumnavigate that and how we're dealing with that, but we've absolutely seen campaigns and things where there's some of that that's been happening, and building the detections and processes to deal with that is something that we've done very successfully.
Cheers. Interested in your experience hiring here in Ireland as you've been building out the team. Do you think there is a gap or a shortage in the market? And if there is, sort of at what level, at what area, what have you seen of that?
Yeah, so some of the statistics I've seen around unemployment in cybersecurity, I think the last stat that I read was that we're minus 4% unemployment in security. So as an industry-wide, globally, not even in Ireland, it's an issue the world over where there is a shortage of cyber skills. So some of the ways I've historically dealt with that is by having intern programs, developing people, apprenticeship programs, coming to these types of conferences, building contacts with folks, because as many of you know, security folks have several layers of tinfoil hats of paranoia, so they don't always be on social network platforms. So trying to find people on different social network platforms to find talent isn't really a scalable effort either. So pounding the pavement, coming to conferences, going to different things like that has been very effective for me to find folks. But engaging with universities, trying to sort of build and develop pipeline is something I'm very passionate about, and trying to help drive and fill talent. But there's definitely is a shortage of talent in the industry globally, not just Ireland.
Yeah.
The question is about the map, about how is divided I think the data center before was for US was all the world. In Indonesia was about only the Asia, the East, like Japan, Hong Kong, this kind of country. And the China is not in need of that. Some reason for threat modeling, or is a business reason to have that division?
Yeah, so the data storage is in Singapore and DC currently, and we've made the commitment to store it in our data in Dublin as well, with the creation of a data center. It's really just that's no focus. It echoes on where we're having our regional centers of excellence. So our cyber center of excellence for the US is DC, Singapore for APAC, and Dublin for EMEA. So it just really models where we're focusing all of our people and resources.
Because China was not neither in the US.
That's correct. TikTok doesn't operate in China. You can't download the app or use the app. We don't store data in China. There's no data sent to China. It's all stored in the US. Or
is not used in China?
Correct. Yeah. You can't use the TikTok app. There's no data sent to China, stored in China. It's all stored separately. So TikTok is all outside of China, rest of the world. So it's US, Singapore, and shortly Dublin as well.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.